Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gen Con TV. Thank you for joining us for Tabletakes on this Friday. As you've noticed, we have maybe a slightly different cast this week.
Whoa, what?
Emma is at the Shut Up and Sit Down Expo in Canada, so she's
cool.
out at Chuck's having fun.
Good for her.
With their
Christian
maple syrup.
is ill and is at home having
Yes.
fun.
Oh, yes.
My boy.
Good thing Christian's the only person who's sick today.
Yeah.
Yes. And no one else
Good.
No one
brought
else
sickness
Great.
that
into the studio.
brought sickness. No, no one would be that inconsiderate.
No,
I'm glad.
Of course not.
So if next week none of us are here,
say
we
no.
know why.
Well, one
Exactly.
of us will be here, because then it'd be over.
Well,
This-
that's
this-
true. And I'll be back behind there, so yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway.
Will
Yes.
is joining us.
Hello.
In front of the camera.
I am Will.
Some of you who joined us for some new release rundowns may have seen Will.
little while
He is
ago.
usually behind the camera over at the computers.
That is me.
But now he is in front joining us as a real live boy.
You're
in the
real?
Spotlight.
You're
oh,
real?
I can. Oh, it worked.
Yep.
The spell worked. Derek, the spell worked.
It's only going to last for about 90 minutes, though,
Oh,
so we
no.
need to get through
Oh,
this
man.
real fast.
Thank
Do I get to
God.
eat food in that 90
No.
minutes?
No.
Ah, I
No.
never got to try it. All right.
So let's dive into some headlines.
Sounds good.
So we're going to start off with anybody who's on Twitter.
Yes.
Over the past 24 hours has seen this. But for
Yes.
those of us who maybe weren't,
It's no longer down with the Colonel, up with the Wendy's, the blesses Wendy's. That's what I'm saying. So if you guys haven't heard, Wendy's, the fast food chain, created a RPG campaign. That's
and not even like just like, oh, here's some cute stuff.
No,
like,
no, it's
this is a legit
it's
96
legit,
page.
Yeah.
or 97 pages.
Wendy herself.
It's a unique campaign setting. It's not based off of 5th edition.
Nope.
Surprisingly, it's got advantages, disadvantages,
It
bonuses.
still uses a D20, still
Yes.
has some bonuses.
Yep.
You'll be familiar, but
It's
it's not the same
familiar
thing.
enough, but completely like,
Legally distinct.
legally distinct, but similar. The art style for this is amazing. It includes an entire campaign, about 5 adventures. This is not like a small adventure book. It's about 45 of these pages are dedicated to the adventure setting.
Wow.
So it's like I run a session that's like maybe 4 to 6 hours long. You would not complete this in 3 sessions.
That's fantastic.
Just based off of my
So rad.
calculations.
Exactly. Yes.
So everything is very thinly veiled merchandise, really leaning towards Wendy's. There's different classes that you can take or orders.
Leaning towards, clearly, the paladin swore an oath to Wendy's here.
Yeah,
Sure,
the
yeah.
paladins. Yeah, there's different
Square
orders
shields. Right.
you can take. That's either the chicken class, the
Yes.
beef
Yep.
class.
So
the
like
sides.
all the different menu items
boy.
from Wendy's
All the different
that you could
menus.
order
Yes.
are orders that are classes. So
That
you
are
can
classes.
be, I just want to be clear here, there's going to be viewers that all I
Yes.
need to say is you can be a 5th level baked potato and
Yes.
they will be all in on this game.
Yes.
Not just a fry lock, just fries. You just
Fries.
are fries.
So how it actually looks is that you are building your order. Actually, I want a bacon, or you want a cheeseburger with bacon and lettuce, and
Yeah.
each of those steps when you level up is another add to your order, which I find is hilarious.
They definitely took the pun level is masterclass here.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's dad jokes to the extreme.
It's fantastic.
but just really look at the artwork. It's very based on old classical D&D books.
and it looks really good.
It's so good
It actually looks
looking.
really good. Yeah.
It does, which I like. For me, it's kind of interesting that they took this viral marketing that's
Yes.
been very popular, noticeable KFC dating sims. This one would take a lot more time to get into, and it's not just a hey, pick it up, the Colonel Sanders one.
Yeah. He's
This one's
knocking
gonna
out
have a
an
lot
hour.
of dedicated time, and they also have bonuses if you brought certain types of food into the
So if you
menu.
bring Wendy's food items,
Yes.
you get +1 to hit. But if you
That's
brought a
right.
pizza, I'm sorry, -2 to hit.
That's
Yep.
sorry, friends. Yep.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
it's ridiculous.
Pizza's greasy.
This is definitely a situation where they had a meeting.
Yes.
Somebody was like, "Wouldn't it be funny if?"
Yes.
And then everyone just nodded gravely and said,
Yeah.
"Yes, let's do that."
I mean-
and
My
they
kids have been
did
watching this
it.
Stranger Things thing. And
Yeah.
they've been playing this D&D thing, and I think we should make a book. So, yeah.
They're like, all of these people, they're really into RPGs
Yeah, exactly.
now.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
we should tap that unfocused market.
Yes,
But not only
absolutely.
did they release a effectively fully fledged
Yeah.
RPG,
Yes.
They didn't half-ass it.
but
Oh
They-
wait, sorry. I'm a little.
it's fine. No. So not only did they release the RPG, but Then they had Critical Role play.
Oh
it
yeah,
last
and
night.
they had Critical Role play last night. I'm totally sorry. I'm under medication.
Nice.
That's going to be the cover. Yep, nailed it.
Nice.
Medication, but yeah, just last night, Critical Role played it to one of their larger crowds, about 30,000 viewers.
Radical.
To watch these, this campaign battling the Ice Jester, Ronald McDonald, and his henchman, the Beef Bandit, which is the Hamburglar.
Yep. There's also a buffed Beef Bandit.
Buff Beef Bandit.
But yeah, like the GM, I think in the promo shot had a Wendy's visor and a Wendy's uniform
Sick.
and a Wendy's
That's fantastic.
takeout or a drive-through headset. Yeah.
Yep. That's actually armor in the game.
Yeah.
That's what the armor looks
Okay.
like for that.
It was light armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Critical Role's announcement video, which I think we just posted in chat, is pretty ridiculous.
It's
Yeah.
pretty good. Yeah.
It's
That's
like
fantastic.
something, one of these things that have just come out of nowhere.
Sure.
Like just Critical Role was like, boom, hey, by the way, RPG.
Right.
It's Wendy's.
I think Twitter's reaction was basically like, "What?
What?
What? And I guess that's the world we live in now, where we're like KFC dating sim,
What even
Wendy's
is
RPG.
What
Yeah.
even is reality anymore?"
What is this dystopia that we live in now? That it's
Take a hobby or a thing you like, take a corporate brand. Look what I've
On a
created.
certain level, like I remember when we'd be like, "Wouldn't it be funny
Yeah,
if KFC released
right,
a dating
yeah,
game
kinda,
and
yeah,
you could
yeah.
have the different ingredients, date with each other?" And you're like, "Oh, that's funny." And then
This
and it would be 3 a.m. and you would go to sleep.
There is a-
and now it comes out and we're like, "Huh."
There was a legitimate fear when Return of the Jedi was coming out that they would name Jabba the Hutt Pizza the Hutt.
Pizza-
That was a
oh,
legitimate fear that
yeah.
that was going to be a corporate
Pizza Hut.
tie-in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and now it is a
full-fledged-
full-fledged thing that we are getting now as well
I
too.
mean,
and I'm
I
really excited
would
about it.
not bat an eye to having like an actual like huge campaign setting with all the fast food restaurants, just in a fantasy realm. That
Sure.
just seems like a really cool
Oh,
campaign.
yeah,
to me.
absolutely. Yeah, that sounds hilarious.
No, just the Warlock with with Ronald McDonald as a patron.
Yes, yeah. As an eldritch patron. Yes, yeah.
The Burger King.
Well, if you like crossovers,
Yes.
you're gonna love Magic and My Little Pony. The
Oh,
greatest,
Wow.
the
yeah.
greatest crossover nobody ever asked
You didn't
for.
give me a chance. You were just like, "Taking it. I'm gone. I'm running."
yeah. Yes.
I got this great segue. I'm gonna take it and run.
You're right.
I know how
Here
this
we
show
go.
works. I watch this show every week. I know what you're
I
doing.
produce the show.
Shut up, Derek.
Yeah. So, if you are a My Little Pony fan, if you're a person who's into the world of My Little Pony, if you're a Magic player, if you're a collector, let's say, there's a great product coming out. It's coming out. Let's see, November 4th. It looks like it's gonna be $50. It comes with 4 cards. Looks like one of them's a double-sided card, which is great. Yeah.
Which I'm just gonna pretend is like the Innistrad werewolf. It's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the werewolf pony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's Liliana after she's like murdered her brother, and then I'm a pony now. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, Rarity Nightmare, who turns into Princess Luna, the double-sided card, much like the Planeswalkers, and then you're gonna have Princess Twilight Sparkle, which is a reference card that does not exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of cards that don't exist.
Exactly.
I think
Yep,
we
yeah.
like even joked about having crossover My Little Pony and Magic the Gathering like
Yeah.
2 weeks ago or something.
So
like
really, I think the lesson here is that everyone should just listen to us. 'cause
Yeah,
we're gonna
everyone should
predict the
listen to
future.
us.
Absolutely.
And I do like that it's benefiting Extra Life, the Seattle's Children's Hospital.
Yeah, which is fantastic. Yeah.
But this is definitely, they're not tournament legal.
No, not
they're
whatsoever.
just for the lols.
Yes, just for fun.
Just for funs.
It's they're taking their first step towards putting Shrek into Magic.
Okay. Well, Shrek is already.
We're getting there, right? Exactly. Yeah. So all I'm saying is do it, cowards. Put Shrek into Magic.
Well, I mean, so they had done some crossovers with like D&D and Transformers and
Yes.
stuff like that in the past.
I think before,
and
yeah.
So it's interesting that the new Wizard seems a little more interested in letting their streams mix, at least in
little
kind
bit.
of these self-contained ways. Because again,
Yeah.
this is just a collector's
Initial.
charity set of 3 cards.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. For sure.
There's also like the 3 playmats that you can buy for like $100 as a set,
set of
and then
sleeves.
Arena has
Yeah.
4 different sleeves you can buy. I think for like
Yeah.
$4 each or something like that.
will be very cool to
So
see.
it's neat. All this stuff is apparently going to benefit Extra Life, which is
Benefits charity,
fantastic.
benefits kids. Yeah,
Yep.
which is fantastic.
But for
yeah.
collectors, for fans of it, it's not like I first heard the news and I was like a whole My Little Pony set on the
on the heels of
galloping right
Disney
after the heels of Eldraine. Apparently not to be,
No,
but
unfortunately.
still pretty neat.
I mean,
Womp
if it's
womp.
popular enough, maybe.
Right? Wow.
Wait, so now you think they're going to take the Think Geek route of like
you go.
releasing the April Fool's thing.
yeah.
It's like, this is so dumb. No one would want it. So you all wanted it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I
right,
guess
yeah.
we're gonna release the Tauntaun sleeping bag.
Sure, right, exactly. We get Star Wars every year.
I mean, yeah.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
argue.
Star Wars every year until the sun explodes. We get a Star Wars Magic set finally, right?
I think some people would just want to play with that deck just to mess with other Magic players. Can you imagine?
Sure.
Like
I can imagine.
my what is it called? Sparkle Magic Friendship Pie. Now
Yeah.
your minions are my friends, so they're not going to attack me because
can't attack.
friendship is magic.
It's true. Yeah.
Friendship is Magic the Gathering.
Now it
Friendship
is.
is magic.
On November 4th, it will be, my friends.
Yeah.
Well, on November 4th it won't be.
No,
Because you can
it's
only order this between the 28th and the 4th.
Oh,
October
24th?
4th. Yep.
Oh,
So if you like this, short window.
it's true.
Short
Yes.
window.
Yeah. October 20th. November
Speaking
4th.
of
Yep.
short window ordering, well, I mean, I'm learning from you apparently.
Oh.
I'm proud of you, son.
Games Workshop has two kind of partnerships that we want to
Yes.
Yes.
Acknowledge.
Yes.
First
Two
one,
very exciting
the
partnerships.
short window one,
Yes.
is I think we may have talked about this before. They had shown some promo shots,
Yeah.
but they're releasing details on their partnership with Bandai for their action figure.
Yes.
rad.
So there's a Space Marine Primaris action figure now. I think it's about this big.
It's huge.
They had it at. There was some show we were at. We saw it at. It may have been PAX.
Was it on PAX, right?
Yeah,
I
probably
imagine.
PAX.
Yeah.
Or no, they had it at Gen Con, I think.
Probably.
Yeah, they had an unpainted one at Gen Con.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's like this big. It's an action figure. I'm not sure if you assemble it like Gunpla, but it's definitely superposable.
It,
Yep.
Yeah, from what I've seen.
So
yeah.
the details are they're apparently only producing 9,000 that
Yes.
GW will have.
Yeah.
Bandai apparently
Yeah.
will have some more. It's unclear how many more.
It's true.
Pre-orders for this go up tomorrow, and GW seems to be assuming that it's going to sell out really fast. So if you want
I'm imagining it
a Knight Titan size version of a Space
Space
Marine that
Marine.
you
Yep.
can then
Right.
proxy in as whatever knight you want to
Exactly.
deploy on the table,
Yeah.
or if you just want to play around with an action figure,
Honestly.
sounds like you might want to sign up for it.
Yes.
I think we were talking about it beforehand.
Yeah.
And I had to come to the harsh realization that maybe I shouldn't buy the action figure
Yeah.
because it's not a Plague Marine.
It's not a Plague
But
Marine.
once they come out with a Plague Marine, I'm getting it.
Oh boy.
You're gonna buy,
Oh
like,
boy,
two
is
of
Derek
them.
gonna buy one.
Yep.
Just like
Yes.
So I have a feeling that I think we're all hoping that it's going to come out,
Yeah.
and it's going to be very popular,
Yes.
and then maybe they'll expand the line and allow us to consume more.
And in 9 years, we'll get a Dark Eldar Archon.
and then you can just have a wall of the Marine.
By
or,
that
like-
point,
Yeah.
plastic will be passe, and
exactly,
it'll be like
yeah.
ectoplasm, and you'll be like, why are all of our minis plastic and not ectoplasm?
Listen, it only took 8 years for Dark Eldar to get a new model, so maybe in 8
Well,
more years we'll get
that's
a.
what you get for being a filthy Xeno.
It's
Well, if
true.
they're
You're right. You're not
plastic,
wrong.
I can imagine somebody buying them and then casting them in aluminum
Ooh.
afterwards, especially if you can remove the
Cool.
parts
Rad.
very easily. Can you imagine?
Well, so the other thing too is, does anybody remember the Shadowrun miniatures game?
Very vaguely.
Yes.
Yeah, it was action figure size. It was like larger than GI Joe. It was
Was it really?
it was the size of these action figures that they're releasing
Really?
here. So I can't wait for someone to buy
That's
enough of
amazing.
these Marines.
Yeah. Play Kill Team with
to
them.
play Kill Team
Yep, yeah.
and
Play
have
Kill
a
Team with them.
squad
Yep.
of like 6 guys this
Yep.
tall, 6 guys that, and you're like, remember when Kill Team was fun and you could play it on one table? Now, nope.
Nope, my whole living room
Yep,
is
we're,
a, yeah.
we're back up to.
We're back up to the big ones.
Yep.
Oh, that's rad. That's
So
gonna be sweet.
that's one news from Games Workshop.
That is
Yes.
one
news.
One.
of two.
2 news from Games Workshop.
Oh,
Two
news.
Two news.
Two
News,
news.
news. Yeah.
Is that Games Workshop and Marvel are collaborating on some comics.
Yes.
So they haven't released a whole lot of details other than it's happening.
It's happening.
super rad.
But apparently the first comics
Already
will be
I'm
coming
already
out.
excited.
Well, okay, he's sold, so I'll
I'm
tell you.
super sold.
The first comics are coming out in August of 2020.
Oh, yes.
So we'll see.
We'll have to see.
It's a long time to wait, unfortunately for
August
Boris.
is
Well, I guess you can catch up on all the comics you haven't read until then.
That's true.
I just
Sorry,
wanna see.
Catch up on Saga.
Stuff.
Yeah,
Warhammer
Yeah,
way behind
40K.
on that.
yeah.
No details, but just all speculation.
Cool.
I mean, I think it's a pretty safe bet it's going to be 40K.
I imagine, yeah. I don't know if you've read Death Watch. It's a fantastic. They already did a couple of comics so far. There's
think
a
I've heard
Didn't they
Fallen
do it with
one as well,
IDW or
too.
something like that?
They've done it with IDW before, yeah. But they're very much in the Marvel art style, very like hard line stuff like that. Death Watch is a fantastic comic about a Death Watch team being sent to deal with some Xenos,
Yep.
and then an orc invasion happens while they're on the planet, and it's just this very cool.
As it happens in 40K.
As it
you know, a
happens.
wog here, a wog there. It happens everywhere. So yeah, they're fantastic. I think they've proven that they can do this. So like, I am just so excited for more of this content as well too. It's very cool. Yeah, fantastic. So more Magic the Gathering.
More news about
More
magic.
news.
We turn back to you.
More news.
I am Magic Boy. Welcome
Magic.
to my magic corner. So, Magic the Gathering is going to be holding a contest where they will be awarding a standard legal Magic card, one copy of each of the standard legal cards in the current Throne of Eldraine sets.
And this is in Arena.
This is in Arena. This is
So
not
you can't just
paper.
like
No,
break down your store
unfortunately,
and get one
yes,
copy
yeah,
of every
yeah.
card.
No, this is not. We're not MTGO. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately, where we can break down our sets. So during the last weekend, players were temporarily given 4 copies of each of the cards in the current Throne of Eldraine sets. You are allowed to play up to 12 games, but if you lose 2 games during those 12 games, then you are basically knocked out, and then you lose access to the
Well,
Throne
so
of Eldraine cards.
that tournament part, like, so
Yes.
right now people have been able to play.
Yes.
Yeah, right, currently.
That tournament part is Sunday, this
Yes.
Sunday. And if you can get 12 wins before 2 losses,
Exactly.
you'll get 1 copy of every standard card.
And
Yes.
added to your collection in Arena.
And let
as
me
well. Yeah.
put this in perspective for you guys. It's really hard to like random matches to win 12 in a row or 12 without 2 losses.
It is, yeah.
I theorize that it's only going to be 1 out of 200 people that actually get this copy of this card.
The sets
But
of
you
cards.
say it's really hard to do that. But 1 out of every 200 people, to me, is fantastic odds for a prize like this.
For a prize for a copy of each. Well, but at least every one of them still gets a good prize afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So apparently it's like a free rare from Throne of Eldraine. So even just
At the end,
participating
exactly.
will get you some prizes.
We'll get you something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Keep in mind these are all digital copies of things. So
Yeah. Just in case.
just in case.
Yeah, but hey, you get to play Magic for a little bit. You get to try stuff out from this new set without necessarily having to make the physical investment of buying a lot of cards ahead of time.
Well, we were
and
also
stuff as
talking
well,
about
too.
that
Yeah.
of how Arena has been launching the access to the digital cards at the same time that the pre-release goes in the store.
Exactly, right.
And there's like a gap of a week or 2 weeks.
About a week or 2 weeks. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a week or 2
usually.
weeks from the pre-release to when the set usually comes out. So it just seems really smart in my mind to allow those cards to be in Arena during that window.
Absolutely.
Because then it gives a reason for the people who are still primarily going to be physical players.
Yes.
You know, like that's where their heart lies. They just want to stay physical. They're not going to jump ship to Arena.
No.
But
I
it
don't
gives
think
them a
so.
reason to go hang out in Arena for a couple weeks to
sure.
play around with stuff and get used to things before the cards are fully out.
Absolutely.
But it also doesn't take away that excitement of going to the pre-release and not knowing what is going to happen.
Absolutely, and I will say, as a person who runs pre-releases, this new set has a lot of kind of interesting mechanics as far as adventure. The way adventure works is a little confusing. To be able to play with it in a digital setting where you have the bounds of a digital setting where I kind of can't make those mistakes, where I can't play this card at the wrong time, I can't necessarily do those things because
So the adventure cards are the ones, because I think I opened some packs of Eldraine last
Exactly,
night and
yeah.
got one. And it's it's always a creature or usually a creature?
So in your hand, it counts as a creature. On the stack, it will become a spell if you pay for the adventure cost. It'll then go into exile, and then you can play it as a creature out of exile if you want to as well too.
Yeah, the question I had, can you just play it as a creature?
You can hard cast it as a creature if you'd like to for its hard cast mana cost, but you can play it as a spell, which will then exile the card, and then you can play it out of exile as a creature again as well too. So there's a few ways of using the cards. The way that the card works as well too is when it's on the stack, it counts as being a spell. In every other zone of the game, however, it counts as whatever the card is printed as. So a creature, fae, whatever that is, essentially as well too. So a lot of those things can be very confusing to a new player who's coming into the game for the first time and then having to be, approach these very complicated mechanics of. Not only is this a spell, it's also a creature, but only in certain zones and only when you're doing certain things. And then after those happen, you can even interact with it even more. Unlike most spells you've played, unlike Dredge or things like that, where you can play it out of your graveyard or things like that as well too. I think be able to have a new player approach it via digital, where they can't make those mistakes yet necessarily, have the kind of hold their hand through those interactions, and then okay, we're going to go to paper, where again you're going to have to think about it that way, but you'll have those interactions in your head. Kaladesh had the vehicles mechanics, which had the crewing mechanic, where you could put people on a vehicle, and then you'd use that vehicle would become a creature and stuff as well too. We haven't played with that mechanic for about 2 years now. So there is one vehicle in this set, and I got so many questions about how does crewing work? Am I tapping the creatures that just came out because they have summoning sickness? Can I tap them down?
Yeah.
Well, the crewing creature is tapping the summoning sickness creature, so you can tap them to pay for the cost of crewing this. Again, that's a very confusing thing, and I as a judge know those things, but somebody may not necessarily know those mechanics. So to have them approach it in a digital setting and have the bounds of a digital setting, I think is a great way to introduce your players to your set as well too, right?
Yeah. It's easy. So like you can automatically go, hey, it won't activate, so that means I can't do
I
it.
must not be able to do it.
Yeah.
And there's rules for why that's happening as well too. Exactly. Which I think is fascinating.
Simple and easy.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Fantastic.
try the tournament.
Yeah. Please. Yeah. Try the tournament software. Try all of it.
Try it.
But
And then,
speaking of wizards,
speaking of wizards, there's more cooler things for physical retail areas. So for your local gaming store, Wizards of the Coast is partnering up with their WPM Premium certification to offer a grant for stores to apply to, which, if you are approved of, will take 50% of your upgrade cost.
yeah, they'll cover up to 50%.
Up to 50% of renovations. This is a really great thing for retail stores that are just starting up.
It's enormous.
And
Like new store owners, people who
store
are
owners.
not as established.
God, yeah.
not established. And I mean, just going, even if you're not applying for the grant, it's a good thing just to choose, like, see what are good business practices for a new and up and coming gaming store.
Absolutely.
And
Because
stuff.
so they're offering these grants to WPN stores, which is
Yes.
Wizards Play Network. So if you're a premier store in that network,
Yes.
then you're eligible to apply for some of these grants.
Absolutely.
But the checklist they have to become eligible
Yes.
really does kind of read like it is just a checklist of what you should do to run a modern store.
A modern store.
You know, so
yeah.
they assume things like display spaces, lighting, but also having some snacks, some food,
food.
space to play.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a lot of the stuff that I think that we in Seattle are
Yeah,
spoiled
are
for having
spoiled
moms,
very
or
much
I think
and
pretty
stuff.
much all of our stores in the area, like
With the
Zulus
cards
that
and
we
comics
know,
down in
that
Olympia.
McMahon,
Yep, yeah.
like everybody has basically kind of made
Improved.
sure that they have space for players to play.
Yep. Yep.
Make sure they have some kind of food. So this is a good checklist of
What to do.
modernizing your store, even if you're not going to end up getting the grant.
Absolutely.
But the
Yeah.
fact that Wizards is willing to take that step and put their money into it is great. I mean,
Yeah.
I really hope
Yes.
that a lot of stores take advantage of
Oh,
it.
absolutely. I mean,
I really do too. But I mean, just from like a retail perspective, like this is like a company, like a major company,
Oh, go
like willing to give you money to help, like your like, for example, the store that I grew up gaming in was
Especially.
just like kind of like a classroom with a lot of board games in it. And we had fold-out tables that could be greatly improved by just having regular tables and established shelves that aren't just like these plastic
sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
shelvings
Yeah.
and stuff.
And if you imagine it, it's a major company coming into the industry and being able to subsidize a lot of these smaller stores that are maybe struggling in this current time and stuff as well too, for them to kind of come down and be able to kind of boost the industry a little bit, especially an industry that is the stores themselves, the physical locations have helped them sell Magic for so long.
Yes.
With
Well,
your
that was
physical
going to be my
right?
point. Is
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that's why Wizards is doing this.
It's incredible,
Like,
yeah.
You were just talking about Magic
Yeah,
and how
exactly.
it's complicated
And
how it really benefits from having somebody you can
Physical
go and be
location.
like, I just opened this pack. This card looks cool. How the hell does it work?
How does any of
Yeah.
this work?
And like if you buy your Magic at Target, like you can't just go to the
Unfortunately,
cashier and ask that.
No.
They don't know.
They
yeah.
don't
So
know.
Nope, yeah.
much of our hobby
Yeah.
is built around local stores.
Yes, yeah.
So for Wizards to recognize that and put money back into it is fantastic.
is a
Yeah.
fantastic thing to do as well
It's
too.
a
Yeah.
great show of faith too,
yeah.
because this is like, for example, like I saw most of this is based off of people who are going to these stores to do Magic the Gathering tournaments, and you can see that they're still making that big initial push for Magic to be more like
Physical,
and more like
social.
not commercialized, stricter in guidelines. I'm trying to find the word for
Consistent,
it.
perhaps?
Consistent.
Yeah, okay.
So you can get qualities, and especially now that they notice that it's popular now to be a board gamer.
Well,
so
apparently Wendy's is in on D&D,
Wendy's
so
is
Right,
on
yeah,
DVD.
yeah.
So now they want to essentially, how I see it is to open up the market to people who might be intimidated by going into like I've been to a gaming store where there was like a big 40K tournament going on.
Sure.
And it was,
and it was people throwing money at each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
4 dudes throwing money at each other.
yeah, throwing money and stuff. And going into that atmosphere can be kind of intimidating,
God, yeah.
especially if you're not used to the gaming industry. And this might help those people who are like, oh, let me dip my toes in.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
hook them in and drag them.
Perfect.
Well, so the checklist for WPN addresses things like that.
Yeah.
It is your staff going to welcome people. But there were a couple points at the end of the checklist that I thought were really useful to note. Do you have a calendar of events
Yes.
that is physically in the store and on your website? Do you have a code of conduct, that is in store and on site? So a lot of those things are stuff that in 10, 20 years ago would not have been as prominent, and not every store would have thought, like, do I really need a code of conduct? Like, can't I just police my players when they like? Come on, can't everybody just be adults? And I get that frustration, or I get that reaction, but especially now, the more that you have put some thought into a code of conduct, and the more that you have placed it in front of people, the more that not only are they going to follow it, but that other people are going to feel hopefully comfortable and confident that you will enforce it, which it will just improve the situation.
Absolutely.
So things like that I think are great. So they've included.
Oh, I didn't. Disease?
You got
Did you
him.
get the disease?
You got him.
No,
Oh,
that's
that's how it started with me. It's sneezing. It
Almost.
was sneezing. Goodies.
No,
Anywho,
please don't. Please don't. You're going to request.
I've
Can we just not?
I haven't touched anybody.
No crossing the line.
Oh, but
That's
yes.
where I'm going to have to. No, I'm going to sit here. We'll make Zulus get sick. It'll be
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
Oh, all right. But yeah, no, like someone in chat mentioned, like improvements to this can offer like other outlets, like eventually like seeing these. I wouldn't mind having a beer and pretzel place to go to for board gaming that you can just have an established room or rent a room and have like full service meals there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Just having like people wait and bring your beers and snacks.
Oh, like Mox does as well too.
Yeah, Mox does.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like one of those models kind of.
One of those models.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a huge improvement. I think also if you have a local store that you're really passionate about, that you visit a lot, make sure to visit them and tell them, hey, check out this program. Please go to your local game stores and say, we want to help you, and have them sign up for this program, because
they may not be aware of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they may not think that it's worth them applying to, but it absolutely is.
And if you have a local game store that maybe needs some improvement, maybe show them this list of things that they could possibly add to their store.
Print it out, drop it,
exactly.
like, oh,
look at this crazy grant you could get for your store if maybe we had more table space and stuff as well too. So I mean, either way, I think it's a good thing for our industry in general.
I'm really curious to see which stores apply, which stores get it, and then what effect it has.
Absolutely.
Because I would really love to see. I mean, just imagine if this has a big impact, and then Wizards expands the program, or Wizards partners with Fantasy Flight, or there's some multi-company kind of initiative. Like that would be amazing.
Yeah, if G-Dub and these major game companies kind of get together, right?
I think Games Workshop's in a weird spot because they also have their own store line. But aside from that, anything that we can do to get companies to kind of cross lines and cooperate with each other would be great.
Oh, what about then we can have like Japanese themed restaurants that are just fantasy games that you just pay to go.
I totally don't get the link there, but yeah, sure.
No, it's totally the same thing.
Sure, no, that's fine. I support your Japanese themed fantasy restaurants.
I'm on board. I'm ready to invest. Where do I sign up?
But yeah, speaking of investing and stuff, there's also like a darker side to companies, right?
I mean,
there is. So, our
tell me more about
our
that.
controversy for the week.
Yes.
Again, those of you who are on Twitter may already be up on some of this.
Yes.
But over the past couple weeks, the situation of Kickstarter and the union of employees has become more and more prominent.
Yes.
So there's been a lot of kind of statements going back and forth, and as a very kind of at a high level summary. So anybody who wants the full details, really, we've got a bunch of links that we can link. But like, go look into it. You can get the full story there.
Yeah.
But very, very roughly, the idea of unions and the tech industry has kind of been bubbling around a lot of different companies.
Yes.
And in particular, Kickstarter, is a public benefit corporation. A lot of people feel very strongly when they kind of join that company. They do that because they believe in the mission of the company. And a lot of this kind of came to a head about a couple weeks ago when Kickstarter fired 2 prominent union organizers within about 8 days of each other.
Yes.
Kickstarter says those are for performance issues.
Yes.
They were both on performance plans. But a lot of people are pointing to anti-union practices in an attempt to repress a union from forming.
Which are super illegal.
Yep, it absolutely is 100% super illegal.
Super illegal.
It probably doesn't help that the CEO around the same time also released statements saying that a union would be inherently antagonistic and anti-cooperative with the company. So there's a lot going on there. But apparently some of this stemmed from earlier in the year, like I think March through May. There was a project on Kickstarter that was a satirical comic about punching Nazis that was inspired by Richard Spencer getting punched for being a Nazi, basically. And there was apparently quite a uproar or turmoil in the company about what it should do with that, because everybody's favorite right-wing news site, Breitbart, had an article about how Kickstarter was violating its own policies by hosting a project that promoted violence. So that, caused Kickstarter to have to consider what it was going to do. And through that process, it's kind of hard to talk about a lot of these deals because we weren't there. But through that process, it seems that a number of the Kickstarter employees came to the conclusion that they needed to form a union to be able to hold Kickstarter to what they felt were its priorities and its principles that it should be beholden to because it is a public benefit corporation. Kickstarter HQ clearly differs from that. But then further complicating the issue is that the union had not called for a boycott of any kind. But a number of very famous people had come out and called for one. And then there was a lot of discussion about whether a boycott would really help the union organizers or not.
Do more harm than good, possibly.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of questions.
Also managers use that as a sign of not good faith in investing in the company and just selfish reasons of why they're boycotting. Which is, I think, for the gist of it, I think people are just scared of voicing their beliefs and opinions now because of this battle that has happened over this, because it was approved by one group but taken away by another group for this, and that's what really people just want to be able to state their beliefs. But the way I see it, a lot of corporations, we've had this nice honeymoon period with Kickstarter. And with every corporation, you can't always have good. There has to be.
As much as we love Wendy's RPG, there are plenty of people who are frustrated with the excitement everybody has about it, because they want to remind people that Wendy's is still a corporation and is still engaging in activities that a lot of us would not endorse or support. So some people find it very difficult to separate the two. Some people don't think you should separate the two. So in some ways, this whole union thing is a reminder that Kickstarter is a company. It's not a company that's explicitly profit-driven, as explicitly profit-driven. It wants to aspire to be this public benefit corporation.
Theoretically.
And the union says that the union would help keep the company on that mission. The CEO clearly disagrees, so we end up with the situation where
it's a hearsay.
There's not only that, but just fundamentally, there's a lot of people who would have projects on Kickstarter that have delayed, canceled, moved to another platform. A lot of Kickstarter projects, I'm probably on too many, I'm sure, but some people are probably at least gotten a couple where the creators who have active projects or were about to launch a project have talked about that they've gotten feedback from potential backers or active backers that those backers are no longer comfortable or no longer as comfortable. I mean,
there was also a union building game that essentially did not post when this was happening. Basically they wanted to do a game about building unions in different parts of the country or something like that. And they basically, when this happened, they're like, no.
That makes sense. I mean, I would.
Well, I mean, especially with the number of prominent progressive people in the gaming industry, for something to come out like this, where it's certainly from some perspective, it's very conservative in that sense. It's very business friendly, at least. It's not very labor friendly. There was certainly going to be a swell of reaction against it. Eventually. So, I think a couple of people on Kickstarter or on Twitter have just noted that what has happened so far is not necessarily horrible corporate malfeasance, except maybe for the people who were fired.
Yeah.
But like a lot of these things that have happened so far are things that many companies do. It's not that strange or out of the ordinary. It's not good, but it's not out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
The problem is that until now, we were in that honeymoon period with Kickstarter,
Yes.
where it was like it was very easy because it felt good. It was consumerism mixed with philanthropy in a lot of ways.
Right.
Like that's how I justified backing a lot of projects.
Sure.
Yes.
Is that even if the product didn't turn out to be great, I helped somebody make it.
Make a small business.
Which is that's very, very different from going to the store and buying the thing that has been made. There's just a lot of different emotions there.
Yep.
So when Kickstarter didn't have this union issue, it was a very easy sell. Now that they do,
You got to think
Feels a
about
little bit more
things.
like Fred Meyer hiring scab employees.
well, like
and-
people just,
you know what I mean?
a lot of people just now have to take that thought of, do I want to support this? Do I want to back it? Do I want to spread the word? And anybody who has that thought, some people are going to decide not to, which means the number of supporters you get is just going to go down. So it's an unfortunate situation.
Absolutely.
This could also, just being devil's advocate, could be an opportunity for other companies that are like Kickstarter to start to pop up. I think like places like Kickstarter need to be a place for, especially for people in minority or repressed areas, that basically their games aren't fitting the mold,
Yeah.
so they can't get funders. But there are people who want to play that game. So I still believe that there needs to be a place for that, to give money to those people. But if Kickstarter might not be the place, there might be another company that rises up in this situation.
If another company does as well too, that might set a precedence for having unionized versions of this as well too. If
Yes.
this other public good workers union does unionize, then that sets a precedence for, well, then other companies in the same vein as that company need to have this as well.
Well, so
too,
like,
right?
that's an even larger tech issue.
Yeah, right,
You know,
exactly.
if,
Yeah,
if
in general,
unionization succeeds at Kickstarter,
Yep, yeah.
then it will hopefully or probably spread to other companies.
Let's
in the tech
hope,
industry.
yeah.
Especially
Like that's a
in-
whole other.
Yeah, that's a whole another-
That's a larger facet to society.
Right, exactly.
But
Yeah.
even just within the gaming industry,
Oh, I
like
was gonna mention.
Sour Beers was in chat just mentioned that they would be happy to follow companies to other platforms at Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I think a company announced they were going to Fig for their
Sure.
their funding, but I think it's a video game company.
Yeah.
So I think most tabletop companies have just said
We're gonna wait.
that they will delay or that they will follow the request of the union. Because that was one of the things that came out of the discussion online. Is,
It was, yeah.
You know, like to make this a learning or teaching experience, it was kind of like a lot of people who had a lot of experience in union organizing and helping marginalized folks were like, hey, remember, focus on the people who are actually doing the work and do what they say. So don't immediately leap to a boycott.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look at the people who are doing the work, and if they say boycott, then you do it.
Yep.
But
if
if
they
they don't,
don't,
maybe consider what you're going to do.
pump the brakes.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, this does highlight that this is kind of almost like Facebook
Yeah.
Again,
or
yep.
other platforms in a microcosm
Talking
of,
earlier, yeah.
at a certain point, Kickstarter kind of has the monopoly of solid crowdfunding.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah.
Even if Kickstarter's a public benefit corporation.
Yeah.
Even if it unionizes, even if everything happens the way we want.
Is that good
Is
to
it
have?
good to have one private organization? I mean, it's not a monopoly in a legal sense, but like an effective, that's the only one people are using. Like,
It's
that's not a
like-
good thing.
Effectively like Amazon.
Yeah.
Yep, Amazon's another good example.
Another example, Steam, before they started having separate platforms
Yeah.
for everyone. It's a Netflix kind of thing. That has that we've seen that more and more in these cases where we're becoming more of a digital economy.
Yes.
And so all of these rules are going to have to be established. This is going to be a lot of growing, changing period that we do have to keep an eye on as a digital consumer. So
Absolutely.
So, but also as a show where we feature so many Kickstarters,
yes,
we figured that we kind of needed to address it. We couldn't skim over it.
No.
Nope.
not
And
necessarily.
I definitely encourage anybody who has strong feelings either way about the topic. There's plenty of reading to go on, and
do.
there's plenty
Educate
of creators and companies that you can reach out to express your feelings on. Like one of the things that the aspiring union wants people to do is contact Kickstarter to tell them what they would like Kickstarter to do. So consider doing that.
yep. Voices can be heard.
And that is the end of our headlines.
News, all our news.
Excellent,
I
friends.
feel like we are this is the earliest we've ever finished headlines on this show, just about.
Flying, friend.
Yeah, we're
Doing so good.
good then.
Right.
That's good pacing.
All right.
So on time.
We'll see.
But
Right,
that
yeah.
means that we just have more times for bundles.
Oh,
Christian's not here, so
so
guess
bundles.
who's gonna take over bundles?
It's going to be you.
It's gonna be me.
All right.
All right.
So for our first humble bundle, old school fantasy role playing is benefiting the Navy Marine Corps.
And this is on Humble Bundle.
This is on Humble Bundle. Humble Bundle release. They're doing basically a $624 worth of PDF files for only $18. Like I said, this is going to be benefiting the Navy Marine Corps Relief Society, basically helping those who are in the branch of the military of Navy through a lot of things. Like after retirement, there is still a lot of like issues or like things that need to be covered, and so that helps the Marines. So it basically features a lot of those old classic roles, freewheeling dungeons, deadly dragons. Just put a new spin on your campaign, or like if you like those old school.
Or a new old spin.
A new old spin. Oh, take the classics and turn them into McDonald's.
It's kind of an eclectic group. There's a lot of different
Tabletapes.
There's a lot of different kind of like books and supplements and snippets here and there. But it looks like the Castle and Crusades is several of the books. It's that kind of old school.
Yes.
So if you're into Castles and Crusades, there's a wealth here to power your games moving forward.
And then I bet you could combine it with riffs if you guys really tried to.
Yeah. Chat did want to know, have you tried Riffs?
Have I tried riffs? Oh, I don't know.
Have you?
Have I?
Have you?
Yes.
What's this
Right.
riffs thing we're talking
What's this
about?
riff? I don't know.
I've never heard of this before.
I've never heard of it.
Sorry, this is my first time on the show. I don't know what this
Oh,
is.
yeah.
This is your first time
so
This is my
existing.
term on the show.
You show
yeah,
up, plug everything in, and then just zone out.
exactly.
And just randomly push what camera to go to. Got it.
It's all audio cues. That's all it does.
All the audio.
Can't handle listening to you people. I only watch.
Exactly.
And then our next is bundle of holding is Travelers. If you ever remember those games where you can die in character creation, that's basically what this
Will
game
gets
is.
real excited.
I love this.
So it says that it's the 1996 version of the 4th edition of the ebooks that you're getting for about $14.95. But honestly, there's been like 20 versions of Travelers, and this is like T4 version.
Excellent.
I
0.5.
think this is one of the classic ones.
Yeah, this is one of the classics, but there's still like a bajillion of them. So you get the Travelers 4, the Fire Fusion Steel, Central Supply Catalog, and a bunch of other things.
Yeah, so the starter collection is like the base rules.
The base rules.
Some basic, like enough to get you going. All the stuff that you strictly need.
Yep.
And then the bonus collection, has more equipment.
Yeah.
It's got like more equipment, stuff
adventures.
about making planets, psionic powers. I think 2 or 3 adventures that you go through, things like that. So Traveler is like one of those classic hard sci-fi RPGs. If anybody remembers like the 80s, early 90s hard sci-fi covers that had the spaceships that were flying through like a space scene, and the ship had really stark colors,
Yes.
that kind of stuff, like that is 100% what Traveler is.
Yeah.
If you ever love those covers, then this is the game that you're going to want to check out.
And then this is
so cool.
benefiting the Electric Frontier Foundation, which is the one who's striving for free internet for all. And that's honestly a really good cause now that we talked
net
about.
neutrality,
net
privacy,
neutrality.
data protections are their big causes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And then this is like you were saying, like Derek was saying, this is OG space opera fantasy. So if you like that kind of category, kind of like Star Wars-esque.
More hard sci-fi than Star Wars.
Okay. Yeah.
So like if you like the non-Jedi part of Star Wars,
Yes.
then yeah. If you were more like, I want to play the smuggler kind of thing.
The smuggler.
Robotech's probably is a little bit too yeah. So
Yeah, sure.
dial it back. You're up here. I need you down here. Okay.
I want charts to show me what arm I've broken in my cockpit when my robot gets punched by another robot.
I think it's from Tabletapes.
yeah, it's about, I have those books. They're great.
Oh my goodness. But yes, so go ahead, both of those charities, and if you like any of those rules or anything that interest or piqued your curiosity, it goes to a good cause, less than $20. Just go buy it.
On the continuing topic of consumerism mixed with philanthropy.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
But yes, and now we're ready for our final kick starters.
Our final Kickstarters?
Or no, I don't know. Never mind.
No more Kickstarters after
No
this.
more Kickstarters ever after this.
I hope not. So, to go through our Kickstarters for the week,
Okay.
Yes.
as I am your Kickstarter queen.
Oh hell.
Yep. Our first one is Edge of Darkness, Cliffs of Cold Harbor.
Oh.
Yeah, isn't it great?
It's so cold there.
I know, it's wonderful here. I'm wearing shorts.
Derek loves the cold.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
He's from the Cold Harbor.
it's my hometown.
He's the queen of Cold
Yeah,
Harbor.
Boston, Cold Harbor, same
exactly.
thing. So this is a second expansion to the Edge of Darkness game that AEG just put out. We haven't had a chance to play it.
Yeah.
But I have it's kind of been bubbling for a bit,
Yes.
so it seems like a solid game. But it looks like you draft cards from like a central area. You slide a clear sleeve over them to modify what they do. Like
Cool.
it's crafting. It seems like they're borrowing some of the
Yep.
elements from Mystic Vale that was
Cool.
really into
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
And then you play it, and then those cards kind of end up filtering into your opponent's decks and stuff like that. So it seems kind of intriguing. Apparently, it's a little tough to get right now.
Okay.
So this Kickstarter has limited quantities of both the base game and the first expansion,
Yes.
as well as this expansion.
Very cool.
So if you're looking to get into it, we kind of wanted to just let people know about it so that you have a chance to grab it,
This is a very good way
especially
to start.
because it has 5 hours left.
Ooh.
Oh, 5
So
hours.
if
5
you were
hours.
into it, you may want to hop there during our
Jump
break.
on that.
And it comes up with a lot. I was able to see like all the cards and like the holders for the cards and everything. It's
Cool.
pretty good value for what you get, and the setting of where the cold is actually so cold it's a monster.
Sure.
Because I think the original game had like a blight that you faced.
Yeah, it was
Dark.
So
Okay.
yeah, so like it's a card crafting worker placement kind of thing, but it seems like you are all competing against each other, but there's a central threat that you all have to deal with in some capacity.
the darkness is cold and cold is the darkness.
Moon's haunted.
Yep, Moon's Haunted.
Moon's
What?
haunted. What?
So the next Kickstarter is from the Heresy Lab, which we
Okay.
had talked about with. They had done some female sculpts of Warhammer figures and stuff like that. I had backed a number of projects of theirs. Very, very cool stuff.
really cool stuff.
We got. I should show you sometime the Death Guard, the female Death Guard,
Cool.
like Chaos Lord.
Yeah.
Like this huge lady with a scythe. Just really,
Sick.
really neat.
Radical. And
So-
guts hanging out.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So
that's
they have a new project called Vacant Realms, which is presenting like two, not armies, but like larger than Kill Team. It's a little unclear.
Yeah.
They just look cool. It's not
Yeah.
sure what game you're supposed to use them for.
Like models, get some models.
Yeah, but there's like there's a steampunk team and there's like
Yeah.
a religious dark elf-y theme.
Dark
I know,
elves.
right?
Dark elves.
So you're right in.
I love Dark Elves.
Yeah. So the steampunk one is actually pretty neat. There's like
Yeah.
a sniper on stilts,
Yep.
and like there's some cool effects.
like
There's
cog
like
stilts.
weird animals that are companion or riding on.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rats and
The
stuff.
dark elf ones, which strike me, they seem more churchy than dark elfy.
A little bit, yeah, actually. Yeah.
Until you get
Because
to
you
like
can't see the ears.
a little bit lower,
probably.
yeah.
Until you
Yeah.
get to like
Longer ears.
there's one with a bow, so I guess that makes them elves.
Sure, I guess.
But anyway, they look pretty neat too.
Yeah, but there's some
How
iron
racist of you.
halos
Not all
on
elves
their
have
armor.
to shoot bows.
You sure about that? I think if we look at D&D, there's like a little note like you have to shoot a bow all the
Really?
time. They're all proficient with bows.
Inherently.
Yep.
Oh.
What do your elven eyes see? Bows.
Bows for days.
bows
Bows
for
for
days.
days.
Bows for days. So it's very neat. Check like if you're looking for some kind of different miniatures, if you're looking for stuff to convert for AdMech
Okay.
or for Sisters of Battle or the Ecclesiarchy or something like that
Yeah.
for Warhammer, a lot of neat stuff to play in there. Or
Yeah.
because of the steampunk ones, I think they would also work really well for Malifaux and stuff like
I
that.
believe so,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
too. Yeah, they're absolutely great. Yeah.
So that has 1 day left.
One day left.
Go check that
Techniques
out.
vibes.
And then for me, so if you want something to hold all those miniatures in, Spellbook Minis has 3 days left. They're basically a company that creates that's working along with Infinite Black and Inquisition Incorporated. They make all these custom like dice and card holders that fit right into your pocket. And it has magnets and a leather binding outside.
It's basically like a little wooden tray
Yeah, it's
with
a wooden
like
tray.
components, and then
You just clap it.
Yeah, there's like a leather cover that also like goes to a wooden cover, and they just magnetize together.
So it's actually pretty nice looking for. I've seen a lot of people, independent companies, do this.
Right.
Me at first, when I was looking at it, I was like, they probably just used poplar are pine as their wood? Because I'm looking at it as a detail person. I'm like, this doesn't look like an exotic wood. This is pine. How dare you try to market me?
I feel like you're stalking this one the way that I stalk a story RPG. I'm like, how are you doing this properly? I don't know.
How are you doing this in this commercialized sense? Because I know how much effort it takes to actually make these.
A question. If you're from Colorado and you've never seen a tree before.
Yep. Colorado has trees.
Hold on. I'm getting there.
What?
All right.
If you've never seen a tree before and you're from Colorado.
Okay.
How do you not see a tree?
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
Does that make pine exotic? If you've never seen a tree before. Do you see where I'm going?
No, I don't.
No.
Because you've never seen a tree.
Yeah, I
so
know.
you're like, it's so exotic, this
Yeah,
pine wood.
What does Colorado have to do with
What
this?
is
They have no trees in Colorado.
They absolutely have trees.
I don't believe it.
You're thinking of Kansas.
Oh,
Kansas doesn't
Kansas.
Yeah. I'm
Yes.
just not going to say that state. I have,
Does that just make you fun?
Sure. Yep. 100%
I have a problem
exotic.
saying that
Yep.
state's name. Colorado.
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 But because it's exotic, it means you can only have one at a time.
That makes sense. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
No.
equipped to your character.
It's like tuna. You have to farm them until they all die.
Exactly.
Yep. Chat confirms. No trees in Kansas.
Exactly.
There's no
Confirmed.
Okay.
Okay.
I was
Well-
like, what? There's trees in.
Nope.
No.
Chat says. Internet says no trees in Kansas.
No
Done.
trees in
I've never
Kansas.
seen a tree in
All right.
Colorado either, but that's just me.
I think I'm out in Colorado. Mountains got
I've
trees.
seen a lot of. I've seen a lot of snow.
Under that snow, trees.
Okay.
Okay.
All
That's
right.
where it hides. The trees hide from you. Anyway.
Yes.
So like Spellbooks, they've been in a lot of conventions.
Yes. Yeah.
These are the mini versions of the larger ones that they have done.
Yes. Yeah.
And some of those will have like dry erase or something like that on the inside of the cover, so you can
Yes.
track initiative and a little bit more space. I love the idea of you mentioning getting these to hold your minis, because I'm just like, each of these could hold like 3 minis, and I'm just like imagining you come
my-
with
my
like
AdMac
a
army.
truck of
Yeah.
these in Warhammer game.
It's pretty though.
Yeah, but like
1,500
they're
weapons.
designed for the D&D game. Like it's you know, a set of dice and a mini and like maybe a pencil or something like that.
I think for me, it has to do the shake test. If you can hold one side and go shake, 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 and the dice don't drop out, then it's good.
I like it. Okay.
Like that's how, like even when I design my own dice trays, I hold it and then go shake, 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 and if the dice don't fall out, then it's good.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right.
You have to think about these things.
I completely agree. So the other interesting thing is that they are partnering with a couple different companies.
Yes.
There's the Acquisitions Incorporated partnership.
Yes.
So you can get a spell book that is the AC Inc. Employees Manual.
Yep.
They also have the C Team Employees Manual, because I think the C Team is the one that
rad.
runs more regularly.
Yeah, exactly.
They're also partnering with Infinite Black, which I thought was neat, because
Cool.
Infinite Black ran a couple of Kickstarters that I backed that were sets of dice, so very Cthulhu Lovecraftian themed, but they came in these neat little dice boxes that were magnetic clasp books that went into a slipcase.
Okay.
So it looks like you had a library of dice boxes.
Oh.
And I think that may be where some of the inspiration for these minis came from.
So scholarly.
Yes, it's very neat. It's very cool.
Right there.
I can see it like getting one that holds cards, so your cards don't get messed up.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Like a magic deck
A
holder or
magic
something like that.
deck holder.
Yeah.
But I also feel like if you put it in your back pocket, it would be super uncomfortable to sit in.
Oh, yeah.
Like-
Yeah, there's a reason I don't put anything in my back pocket anymore.
Ah, okay.
My wallet goes in the front pocket. Back pockets don't exist.
Back pockets only. I just wish girls had more pockets in general.
I support that endeavor.
Yes.
I do support
More
that.
jeans that need to have pockets. That's my initiative.
I got these skinny jeans, so.
No,
No.
I
Yeah, right,
I don't think I'm skinny in any
Yeah,
dimension.
right.
So
I don't know if a dice tray is gonna fit in
You
next to my
gotta
phone.
use
You
the
know what I
charger
mean?
like mine. I can't.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't fit my cell phone very deep in mine, and these are
Oh.
progressive pants.
Yeah, those ones have the thin
They're very
pockets.
progressive
Yeah,
pants.
right. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
speaking of progressive,
Yes.
Ooh.
in no way progressive at all.
Oh.
No.
Slay Industries second edition has launched. So I think we talked about a Kickstarter for a supplement or before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this one is the full new second edition.
Yeah.
It's a new system. There's a whole lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to mention it because this is a classic, kind of like cult classic setting.
Yes.
That is it's one of those things that you go back and you're like, wow, they were talking about it back then, because
Yeah.
it's a satirical dystopian cyberpunk future
Yeah.
where the only way to get justice or law enforcement is basically this weird mix of bounty hunting and reality TV
Yeah.
streamingness thing.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So like you're all playing these like free agents who run around fulfilling bounties, but you have to do it with corporate sponsorships and like a stylized presentation to make sure
like
you get
Running
viewers.
Man,
Yeah, it's basically
exactly,
Running Man, but he is also the law.
Yes.
So replace the police with Running Man and Twitch, and you get
Judge Dredd and Running Man.
Judge Dredd. I was gonna say.
Yeah.
All right,
so,
guys.
So remember if he was
for
like,
100 bits, we're gonna go ahead and take this out loud.
remember to like, subscribe, and follow. Well, but then also, like we also had Borderlands. The villains are all
the villains are
so
streamers.
it's just it's weird to me because it seems like this is one of those moments where an old game that was doing a thing is now back at like kind of the perfect moment.
Yeah.
Dr. Disrespect was a bounty hunter.
So that has 4 days left.
I'm sorry I said that out loud.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh that hard. I'm sorry. It really does fit.
It's basically that's what it is.
This
right?
is basically what it is.
4 days left. You can go check that out. If this is who you are, then you're into this game.
Exactly.
In a completely different note, the next Kickstarter is Nunami, and this is an Inuit game. So it's designed by, or it's an Inuit designer trying to reflect like Inuit cultural values.
Yes, absolutely.
And it was on Kickstarter before.
Yeah.
It didn't succeed, but now it's back and it's doing way better than last time. So
Looks
I'm really
gorgeous.
happy to see that.
Yep.
So great art.
And it's kind of it's a very different setup. You have these plastic hexes that you kind of lay out however you want. They just have to touch each other.
Little trays.
Yeah, they're little trays
little
that
trays,
hold the triangular cards that you put down.
Yep.
And there's a mechanic, you put them down, some face up, and you kind of flip them back and forth, like all this kind of stuff. And you're doing this thing where you're trying to maintain a balance between people and the nature. And if anyone gets too far, then that kind of biome is taken out.
Yeah.
And don't score it.
Right.
It's a neat take on things.
You become
And you're trying to balance it so the human, like overall, you get a nice balance and humans come out.
You're not
on
Easter Island cutting down the last tree.
Aha!
I'm sure this is fine.
So they're cutting down the last tree to make dice boxes, and then people will be like, "Well, pine is so exotic here."
There's no more pine left. This is Colorado.
Yeah, once they cut down the trees, it just becomes Colorado.
The island nation of Colorado, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I question your understanding of geopolitical
we call it
boundaries
callback.
or how geography works.
Yeah, it's true.
No, that's how you make money. You cut down all of the trees.
Sell
and
it all.
then just hoard it and only
Exactly.
sell limited editions
Exactly.
of this tree.
Only 9,000.
Only 9,000.
Only 9,000.
One of my favorite stories is
We didn't even make an over 9,000 joke. How
no,
did we do
we
that?
haven't.
Oh my
No,
God.
we didn't. We failed.
Shut it
We
down.
were fired from the internet.
Shut it down.
We're fired.
So, unrelated to the internet, 9,000 or trees.
Yes.
We got punks.
Vaguely, is Nunami. So,
Yeah.
like, this is the kind of thing that I love to see on Kickstarter.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
it is the theme, design,
Yeah.
designers, everything is not typical.
Yes. No.
So this is exactly what Kickstarter is great to serve.
And I think they also, some of it had some of the Inuit language on there as well. So that's kind of like a cultural aspect to it as well.
Yeah,
And I think it's good to explore and benefit these games that do provide a different viewpoint from different cultures.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
The more that we can get of games from completely different communities, the better games are going to be in general.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
going to be a utopia of games.
cool.
Speaking of Utopia,
Oh.
that is 5 days left.
Yeah.
Speaking of Utopia, we have Punk Apocalyptic, the RPG, which is in no way utopian.
Nope. No, not at all, not at all.
So this is 6 days left. Some of you viewers may recall Shadow of the Demon Lord, which we've talked about a couple times.
Yeah.
This is a setting that is for Spanish miniatures games that is using the Shadow of the Demon Lord engine to kind of come out as an RPG.
Very cool.
And anybody who liked 3rd edition or who, basically the last several editions of D&D, I think, basically.
Yes.
Would be very comfortable, find a lot to kind of mess around with here.
Cool.
You pick a bunch of classes, like one of the key things of Shadow of the Demon Lord is there were only 11 levels. You start at 0, you go to 10, you get something at every level.
Yeah.
Every session you level up, you do your campaign, you're done,
Right.
you start a new campaign. You do a different thing. So they're trying to bring some of that to Punk Apocalyptic.
Cool.
Yep.
And it's, you were kind of describing it as Mad Max and Fallout.
Yeah, Fallout. It's like fun, campy, but also total destruction. It can be kind of crunchy. If you go ahead and look, it's one thing you can get from the campaign stand-in is just look at some of the art examples they have.
Yeah.
Basically.
Very, very mutant-y.
Very mutant-y, but also if you notice, they're all popular 90s characters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's Sonic the Hedgehog in there.
Oh yeah, there was one. Yeah, there was Sonic. There was someone I couldn't remember. There was a couple references in there that we were picking
Ninja
out.
Turtles also in there. It's kind of like, let's have, the world is ended. Let's have fun with it kind of campaign.
Okay.
And then just like have fun, kill.
So if people are big into Gamma World, I think it would be another kind of tie-in.
Is Glenn Danzig a playable character?
I think he is now.
Okay.
Now he is.
Excellent. Yeah.
Now
You've made that happen.
He's the final boss.
Now from an apocalyptic world, let's go to the carnival, the Grand Carnival.
That makes sense.
The Grand Carnival. These segues are awesome. Trust me. This has 6 days left. So basically, it's this is a hard word for me. Polyomino game, 1 to 4 players, where you basically get to make the best carnival, and you try to walk people through your best carnival so they can see all of the attractions, and you get all the ticket money, and then the one with the greatest carnival wins.
So by polyomino, it means that like you're laying down these like
tracks.
geographic shapes.
Yes.
Or geometric shapes. Geographic shapes. Yeah, we're going to put Easter Island in Colorado here and see what happens. So you're laying
The
down
perfect
these
society. No trees anywhere.
So you're putting down these geometric shapes, but kind of like dominoes, but they're not just rectangles.
No.
There's like U shapes, zigzags, things like that. If people have played Patchwork, very kind of similar idea.
Totally.
So you just want to put it together, and the whole idea is that your people have to be able to walk through the whole carnival, and if you can't walk through, then you just don't get the points.
So you're both building the carnival,
Yes.
and then sending carnival guests through it.
Yeah.
So you have both sides that you got to play with.
Yeah. So you can't sim it or
And the
roller
two of
coaster.
you immediately
saying,
straight
yeah,
went to the
right.
horrible things that you have done in roller coaster
Okay,
type.
so have you not
Yeah,
ever
right,
just
exactly.
like opened a roller coaster that doesn't end on anything
It's
except
so
right into
funny.
the crowd of people,
Yep,
and
it's
then you
so
just
funny every
pulverize all those people by sending it off the coaster?
You make
I've
a zoo
never done that.
with a bunch of bears, and then you get a bunch of people in your park, and then what's that? The bears got out, and then they
Or then
bears!
just set a typhoon in your sim city.
I would like the record to state that I have never done either of those things.
And then, so let me tell you, so
Yeah,
you're not one
right.
of those people that like push a mower and imagine mowing down cities.
Right, exactly. SimCity style.
I'm going to claim no.
Man,
I mean, it's probably not
No
true,
fun,
but I'm going to at
right?
least take
Yeah,
this
yeah,
moment
right.
to take the moral high ground here.
Eric's no fun, right?
But
Yep.
it's no
Yeah,
fun.
the worst,
You have
the
to
worst.
imagine some
Yeah,
carnage
exactly.
at the very least.
You make one of those drop rides,
I'm
but
just-
it just
no,
goes
no.
up, and then it just flies off.
I'm all for
Exactly,
carnage. I just don't.
yeah.
I just don't think I've ever done the sim carnage. I'm more hands-on.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right.
In any way,
Derek
none
makes
of this.
physical models and then blows them up.
No,
You're Sid from
Exactly.
Toy Story?
Exactly. He's Sid from Toy Story.
I am
Exactly.
Sid from Toy Story, except I don't destroy the models. But I absolutely would take them apart and put them. When I was a kid,
Yeah.
my dream was to open up a store
Man.
that kids would come into, and I would have all the G.I. Joe parts laid out, and I was like the G.I. Joe chef, and I
Oh,
would
man.
make a G.I.
What?
custom
That actually
G.I.
sounds pretty cool.
Yeah,
No.
right?
It does.
Yeah, when
Like,
you're
really-
8, it is amazing, and that is how you're
So
gonna
many
make your
kids are going to
fortune.
choke in your
man.
store, though.
Well, they don't get the touch. It's like it's behind the counter.
They're just gonna put. You can't have it. You have to have it built. It's like Legos.
No, it's
They're gonna
not.
put
No,
it in their
it's
mouth.
an art. I don't think you understand.
Nom, 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 nom. Chokeable pieces.
Anyway, that has nothing to do at all with Grand Carnival. So Grand Carnival, polyomino, you're building this, but it also has like a solo mode, and you really enjoyed the art and the theme.
Yeah, the art and the theme is like very 1950s style, kind of like cartoony themed, and it does have meeples in there. I just really like the whole like just build a carnival and have fun with it.
That's so cool.
A simple, easy.
Build a
kind of-
carnival, you have fun with it.
You
and
have
you see
fun
how
with
many
it.
of your workers you can kill. So someone clearly needs to make like the evil sim
Oh,
board
I'm
game
so excited.
where you could have the meeples. Anyway,
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but I mean, at
we
the
keep
same
getting off
time,
track with you trying to murder
the
people.
OSHA violations, the
it's
board.
the solo mode isn't that. I will put a caution in this tell. The solo mode isn't that awesome.
Okay.
It's just like there's no losing. It's just like, oh, you make an park, or you make a, oh my God, I'm going to throw all my money at you park.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
So that's 6 days left.
Interesting.
6 days.
Also with 6 days left, some of you may have heard of a game called Red Dragon Inn.
Yes.
Yes.
If you have, then Kickstarter, they're doing a project
1 through
for
9, right?
2 more characters.
Yep.
And we're on like what? Gotta be I think it's
What was that
I think it's Red Dragon 8 or 9.
I
think
was
7.
I was
just came
worried
out.
somebody wasn't going to make more characters for Red Dragon
Well,
Inn.
guess what?
Now they
You
are.
don't need to worry about it. You're safe.
Thank you,
You're
Dave,
safe.
for
You
putting my
got it.
mind at ease.
Have you ever wanted to play an elf in Red Dragon Inn? Now you can.
What kind of elf?
A sniper?
Oh, one of how
Named
many?
Piper?
Yeah,
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
Oh, she was an elf. I didn't think she was an elf.
You have to look for the ears.
Yeah.
Oh, I had to look at the
Yeah,
ears. Ah, dang it. I didn't look at the
It's a
ears.
very good callback. I like that one too.
There's also a werewolf
Oh,
who
the
apparently
werewolf
can
looks
get
good.
drunk and turn into a thing or something.
Rip Snarl.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. Naming your werewolf Rip Snarl
Yeah,
and then
come
not
on.
making them the head of an 80s metal band?
Yeah, right,
What the hell?
Yeah, right. Yeah. My father was Rip Snarl.
They're a rip-
Yeah.
No, but I mean, if for those who are not familiar, it's basically a card, like a deck building game where you try to be the rowdiest adventurer who's spending a good amount but not getting too drunk.
So you're the adventurer you're not going on the adventure. You're not being heroic in this game in any way.
No.
You just came back from the adventure.
Post
Yeah.
adventure.
You have an unreasonable volume of money.
Yes.
Yes.
And you are Conan, and it is now time for you to
Yep.
drink all that money away.
Yes.
And you play Red Dragon Inn.
So
Yep.
Bronzebeard is handing me pint after pint. Oh, another. Oh, another.
So this is basically adventurer's version of Bard, the card game.
Cool.
That's how I would like to say it,
like
because you
that.
got to be a bard to spin your own tale.
Yeah. Okay.
Give me an adventure to get drunk. Sure.
Yes, yes.
So, Red Dragon Inn,
16.
it's one of those games that if you probably have
Yeah.
played it, and you probably know if you like it, and if you do, there's a Kickstarter for you.
Oh, and speaking about cards, this campaign, 7 days left, Western Tropic. It's basically taking what everybody knows as Texan Hold'em for poker,
Yeah.
and turning it into a board game. It allows the artwork for the cards and everything are beautiful. I'm very focused on art when it comes to Kickstarters.
Cool.
If you guys
I am too. I mean, there are enough games. We talked about this. There's enough
Yeah.
games out there. We can be.
We can be.
It's okay to be picky.
We can be picky and like fancy cards and fancy things and beautiful orange.
I have been
sets.
accused of buying too many poker decks.
I had this conversation with somebody yesterday where they were like, how do you know this many games? I was like, well, there's like 12 mechanics in games. If you know all of them, you pretty much know all games. There's just themes we slap on top of
Yeah.
that. And then we like,
Or
exactly,
mixing
exactly.
But there's a reason when you're like, "Tell me about this game?" Like,
Yeah.
Well, it's resource
it's a card
management.
crafting
Yeah, exactly.
worker placement game. And you're like, okay, I get it.
It's a
I get it.
roguelite.
But it has this on the cover. So
Exactly.
Meanwhile,
right,
new players
exactly.
are like, what is wrong with you?
You've played all 80 of these games? Well, yes.
yes,
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of. I know the
yes.
premise.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, how this game is played, that you got a 5x5 grid,
Yeah.
and you can move your player card around, and each time you have about 3 cards, you have to burn one of the cards, and each time you burn a card, that unlocks a special ability.
Cool.
That you can either swap cards, move your player around, replace a card.
Well, so the visual thing that's kind of hard to see here is you're
Yes.
playing
Yes.
Texas Hold'em,
Yeah.
Yes.
which means you have some cards that are hidden, and you have a communal river or stream that you're building your poker hand from.
Yeah.
So you're still playing poker. You're
Yeah.
still trying to get your poker hand.
Yeah.
But the trick is that you basically have 10 streams or 10 rivers that you can try to manipulate. So you have this grid that's laid out,
Yeah.
and your cards allow you to move cards that are out in the rivers to be advantageous or to block your opponent, or to move you to change which river
Yeah.
you are playing off of. So you're trying to use the hidden information you have in your hand
Yes.
to get you to a river that has the best hand.
Yeah, and definitely check out this Kickstarter page. I as a person who's played a lot of poker in my life,
Yes.
I didn't understand that net yet until I looked at the actual physical board with everything laid out, and it was like, oh, that makes sense.
If you are big into poker, we absolutely have to play Hocus then.
Oh,
that
rad.
was the game I was
Yeah,
telling
that
you
was the
about
game
because
exactly,
it's a game I keep wanting to play with people because I think it's really clever. You're basically playing poker,
Yeah.
except each of us would have picked a different school of magic,
Cool.
like
Radical.
pyromancy, chronomancy, shadow magic, and each of those schools of magic comes with 3 spells that only each of us can do.
Okay.
So if you picked like pyromancy,
Yeah.
you might be able to manipulate the stream or the river by burning cards out of it.
Ah.
Or or shadow magic might allow you, instead of having like 2 pockets, you have 3 pockets.
Okay.
Think like really interesting stuff.
Roller coaster tycoonomancy.
No, definitely
no.
no.
And then
No, that one's vetoed.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Oh.
for those, like, this is a really interesting idea to me because it's taking poker,
Okay.
which everyone is basically familiar
Yes,
with,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
and really applying it on like another board gamey level.
It's
So
very
cool.
this
Yeah.
might be a really good
Yeah.
game for you to kind of reconnect with your poker love,
Right.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you, or if you have a friend who is a big poker fan and you
play
want to
board game.
bring them into board games,
Yeah.
this might be a good way to do it.
Absolutely.
And it might be also for the middle ground of people who are familiar with poker, don't really care for it that much. Just
But
pick
love
it up.
board games.
Love
Yeah.
board games. It's an easy, nice little like simple hook.
Yeah. And like you
people can
said,
get
that
in.
art style is really cool.
And I bet you can play with your grandparents with this, because old people really like cards.
Old people also really like cowboys.
Oh, they do also really like cowboys.
Feel your hand, coward.
Wow. So, on that note, old
That's
people.
what I say to my grandpa every time I see
So,
him.
table takes. Old people like cards and cowboys.
Yeah,
You heard it
exactly.
here.
This is true though. Have you not met old
The hottest
people?
takes. Yeah.
Yeah, they like cards.
The hottest takes.
Bonds, I know exactly
The
what I'm
hottest
talking
takes about old people.
And they smoke a lot.
If I
They
have,
also do smoke a lot.
They
if
do
I,
smoke
if I
a
have a
lot.
lot of decks of cards, does that make me an old person?
Ooh, Derek.
I like
I
cowboys.
hate to break the news to you.
And I hate to break the news
Yeah.
to you.
I don't like smoking.
Okay, well,
Am I safe?
that's the one that's your saving
I
grace.
can still call myself youthful. I'm not turning 30 until the end of the month.
Ooh.
Young at heart is
That's
what I say.
phenomenal.
Yes, there you go.
I,
Haha.
I have always been, and always will be.
Yep.
Forever young.
Your friend.
It's,
So, thank you for joining us for
Again.
this special,
you.
very special episode of Table Takes.
Yes.
Will, thank you for enduring this process.
Thank you
with
for
us.
having me.
Yes.
We
Thank
hope
you.
that Christian feels better.
Yes.
Yes.
We hope that Emma has fun at Shucks and comes back
Absolutely.
to report
And
amazing
gives
things.
us lots of maple syrup.
Yeah,
treats.
totally.
Sure,
Yeah.
that's
Yes. Yes.
fine. I'm sure she'll play a ton of games. So stick around for a little while we reset, so you can join us for the new release rundown with Zulus. Ethan's going to come joining us again. And we have our Monday night show with the Brothers Murph, where they play through games. We have Wednesday Fireside with Peter Atkinson, and then you can join us next week for Table Takes and new release rundown. Thank you, everybody. Stick around, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye. Take
Bye.
your vitamin C. Get
No,
your
it
shot.
doesn't